shoot. Pull back, step back three. Bottom!
The handoff. Jones for the tie. Oh, he's fouled! And one! He's still loose. Doherty the heave. Oh, my God!
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah is going to do something they've never done. Go to the NCAA tournament.
What's up, everybody? It is WAC Wednesday. We are continuing on with our team previews. Today, I'm just going to preview this by what I'm wearing so all the fans can see. As you can see, I got this special shirt sent to me last year during the season, or actually prior to the season starting. Good friend Jonah Goldberg, the SID Media Relations Coordinator down there at UTRGV, sent me this shirt that they had made for, I guess it's, what do we call it? Midnight Madness there in Edinburg at UTRGV Fieldhouse. Today we have UTRGV women's basketball that we're previewing this week, and we have head coach Lane Lord. I'm going to bring him in right now. Lane, you were pretty excited when you saw what I was wearing prior to starting the recording.
Oh, no doubt. You got to represent, and you brought it, man. It's a big time shirt, and that was our. We used to call it Midnight Madness. Now they just call it Madness, where all the students come out. We had a sold out crowd, and they gave those shirts away, and it's big time. So you're part of the action, man.
Awesome. Speaking of that, maybe Danny can tell you, when is the Madness scheduled for UTRGV this year?
October 27th, it's Friday night, will be our Madness, introducing the men and women's teams, and of course we get the student body involved, and they have dance offs, and it's a fantastic night that we have here in the Valley, and it's always sold out, and it's a great event for our university.
Absolutely. It's always good to get students involved, especially it seems like one of the fastest growing universities in the state of Texas. I think I've read that somewhere.
It is, and we're actually just voted the #1 public university by Boston Magazine or something like that. So it's not only growing, but with the medical school and all the education settings we have, master's programs, it's just been exploding in the 5 years I've been here. Facilities are finally now starting to take off in athletics. I believe we're at 90 million in the next 2 years. All the sports are being touched at some point. We have a new floor, new seating, new video boards. We already had one of the biggest video boards. It's double in size. New ribbon boards. We're actually getting a practice facility that they're building right now for men and women's basketball. So things are coming. The Valley. We are rallying the Valley, and it's a fun time to be here for sure.
Big time. Plus the addition of football, which will start in 2025. So
that's going to help us all. That's football is going to, we've always kind of been a commuter campus, even though we have over 33,000 students here at UTRGV. But the new apartments are going up, new dorms, just the excitement about football and really helping this campus transform from a commuter campus to on-campus life and student life, and we're so pumped. And we've got a great football coach in Travis Bush. He's got his staff going. I believe he's hiring 5 more people here in January. He's got 5 right now. Have our first recruiting football class in April. Kind of have that 1-year practice season, so it's on, man. We got a beautiful new football complex. They're getting ready to break ground on that right behind the baseball field. So it's a great time to be a Vaquero.
It's awesome. Love to hear that. Lane, before we get going into maybe recapping last season and then previewing this upcoming season, I want to ask you, you've been in college athletics for a long time. Did you ever think that we'd get to a point where the so-called Conference of Champions was just gone?
No, I never thought it would come to this at all. But it's the days that we live in, the life we live right now, and it's times have changed, and you got to adapt.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, yeah. And the thing is, it's interesting as a coach, you see all this going on, and you know that that could impact UTRGV or the WAC or other things. Does it ever play a part in recruiting and so forth, or is it just kind of, we're going to do what we have to do to put our team together, get ready for our season, and let the people in charge like Chase Conk and so forth deal with all that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's a trickle down effect, with the Pac-12 right now, and with them disbanding, and you just go conference to conference, teams are leaving, going. But really, I know this is coach speak, but we've got people above us that are handling all this stuff. The great news for us is the WAC is in great position right now. We got great leadership. We have a solid 11 members, and I believe we're going to stick together um, and hopefully continue this conference. As you've seen in men and women's basketball in just the last 2 or 3 years, our power ratings have gone up. I mean, we're above halfway mark now, both on the men and women's side, being in the whether there's 32 conferences, and the men were number 14
Yep.
or 13 last year. The women, I think, were right around 15. So the league is strong. It's going to continue to compete at a high level, and you're starting to see in every sport that the WAC is popping Power Five teams left and right, and it's just very good basketball in our league right now, and we're excited to be a part of it.
I don't know if you've seen other team schedules on the women's side that, and I'm trying to pull up yours right now too, that there's Power Five schools that are willing to go play at WAC schools. Like, what does that say about the league in general? That I think Utah Tech gets Oregon and Oklahoma State coming down there to St. George. I know that SFA has one coming there. GC, like, just that you get in Power Five schools coming to play mid-major schools. Like, how big is that for the conference?
It's huge. We have University of Texas coming to our place this year on December the 20th, and we're going to play that over at Bird Ogden Arena, a bigger venue. Really, really hope to have 9,000 people at that venue. And but yeah, it says a lot about this league, how far we've come in just a short amount of time. Um, but it's exciting because we used to just have to play these guys to get raise extra money, and I think most of the schools in our league don't have to do that anymore. We're not having to buy games and try to support our budgets. I think pretty much every school in the WAC right now has healthy budgets, and now we're able to play these games home and home, and it makes a huge difference.
I want to ask you about last year, kind of some ups and downs, so forth and so on. Ayanna Dorsey was really good for you. Just talk about your overall thoughts as you got into March and the end of the season there. What you look back on, maybe were some pluses and maybe some things that you and your staff kind of thought, hey, we got to change some things as we get into 2023-24.
Well, I tell you what, we had 10 new players last year, and all 10 players came back, including 4 starters that were new starters in the WAC, led by Dorsey, Mel Kalai, Deb Ogunemi, and then a freshman we had in the post, Charlotte O'Keefe. And so all 4 of those newcomers last year, we lost a lot of close games if you look at our record. And I'll take the blame for that. But I can tell you this, year 2, yeah, you see it at every school. But when these players get through this travel, they've been through it before, and you got 4 starters back. I believe us and Utah Tech are the only teams that can say they have 4 starters back. And we feel really good about this team. We feel like we can be in the top half of the league, and we think we can make a run at it, man. We've got the pieces. With 10 back, we got 3 transfers that we're really excited about, and we've got 3 really good freshmen. So we feel like we've improved our depth. That was a major factor last year. We weren't very deep, but our better players are our most experienced players now, and we're excited for the opportunity to. Man, we got to get UTRGV to the NCAA tournament. That's the goal, and we feel like we have the team to do that.
I want to ask you, what's the deal with I shouldn't say the deal. Maybe it was Ayanna Dorsey kind of helped recruit her, and I don't want to like say her first name incorrectly.
You can just call her Naya.
Naya. Okay, Naya Mitchell's from Tarleton. Is there a connection there? Is it just a relationship thing? Is it Ayanna saying, "Hey, come play down here because we get to possibly go to the NCAA tournament if we win"? I shouldn't say possibly. UTRGV gets to go to the NCAA tournament if they win the WAC tournament. Tarleton's still in their final year of their transition, so they don't get to go if they win the WAC tournament. Was there? Did she help recruit Naya to UTRGV?
Well, I think with the coaching change that Tarleton had, that was a factor. Naya graduated. That's another factor. She's a grad transfer. Obviously, having the relationship with Ayanna was huge for us. But there's a lot of factors that went into it. And they are good friends, so that always helps. And they had a good at Tarleton. They had a good, point guard to post relationship as well as off the floor. So yeah, we're really excited to have Nia. She's a proven player in the league. And if you want to get analytic about it, she's the only player with our players coming back included that she had a positive. She was over a 1 points per possession. That's really hard to do. So she has when she was on the floor, she was a proven player in this league, averaged close to double figures, and only played about 15, 20 minutes a game. And her production is really high, and her efficiency is really high. So she's really going to help us in the post. We're going to move O'Keefe over to the 4 a little bit more, so we can play Nia at the 5. So we'll have 6'4", 6'3" at the 5 and the 4. And then, of course, with Dorsey, I believe she's the second leading scorer in the league, maybe the leading scorer in the league returning this year. Proven player for 3 years in this league. So, with those three, we're really excited. And, of course, Deb Ogunemi, her first year last year was right at 9 points, almost a double-double average. She played the 4 last year as well. She'll play some 3. But, yeah, we're excited about this group.
I want to ask you, you seen, 2 years ago it was SFA that won the WAC tournament and regular season. Last year it was newcomer Southern Utah that won the WAC regular season and the tournament. Both those teams had size, like a lot of size in the paint. Like you said, you have Charlotte and Nia that go 6'3", 6'4". Was that kind of an emphasis for you and Kevin and the rest of your staff in the offseason that we got to get a little bit bigger or maybe even deeper in the paint per se?
I think deeper is the main thing. We also have Zariah Sango. She'll start the season on I guess you call it the IR or injured list with the broken finger right now, but she'll be back ready for conference. But that gives us 3 players, 6'3" or taller. We also have a 6'2" backup 4 named Ashton McCoy. Played a little bit for us last year, so we feel like we're pretty big. But we wanted to get bigger at all the positions. Besides point guard, our point guards are little. Ayana, and then we got a freshman, Jashelle Johnson from San Antonio, one of the best players in Texas. And we have Tierra Trotter back, who was played a little bit last year, but has really had a good fall camp. But yeah, we wanted to get bigger at the 2, 3, 4, and 5, and add that quality depth as well.
I want to ask you, what's it like for you and your staff? I mean, we're now in year 3 with the newcomers. Well, with some of the newcomers, year 2 with UTA and Southern Utah. How challenging is it night in and night out to maybe play a game on Thursday, and then you have to get ready for a team that maybe plays an entirely different style of basketball because there's so many different styles in the Western Athletic Conference? I feel like, especially on the women's side of how teams play, like how challenging is that to prep for a quick turnaround?
Well, Kyle, you're kind of cutting in and out on me. I got bits and pieces of the question, but I think you talked about different styles in the league and maybe having to play. And like our opening 2 games of conference, we'll be in Grand Canyon on Thursday, then fly back home and play Tarleton on a Saturday. Was that the question?
Yeah, it's more of like prepping that way. Like Grand Canyon plays up tempo, full court press, so forth and so on. Tarleton maybe be more of a half court offense type. Like there's so many different styles. How challenging is that for you and your staff to prep for those styles?
Yeah, it's challenging. And, when we first got in the league, it was just, it was us, Grand Canyon, Captains. I think we were the only ones left. So Seattle, you got teams in Texas that play a different style than Utah schools play. And so, yeah, it's a challenge every night, but good thing we have technology and we're able to scout well. Before, we didn't have Synergy, Huddle, all these things that do all the analytics and, you break down the film for you and all that stuff. It was a grind. And, back in the day, you look at the Big Ten women, it was just a pounded league. And you go over to SEC, it was more athletes and pressing. And, so different regions of the country play different styles. But, I think our league has a lot of diversity as far as style goes, but I think technology helps us all prepare. And hopefully you got the versatile players in your program that you can play fast, you can play the pounded game, and you can press. And hopefully we're at that point. I believe we are.
I want to ask you, how do you feel about opening up with, I shouldn't say opening them up, having 2 WAC games so early on in the season right there that kind of split up your non-conference slate. Do you like that? Does it matter? Is it just we got to go play games and win, do what we do? I've asked every coach this, so I'm very interested in your take, Lane, on, you get great, you have to go to Grand Canyon, then you come back home to host Tarleton, who has a new head coach after that struggle last season. So, and that might be an emotional game for 2 of your players too, in a sense, with Alana and Naya. So, like,
Yeah.
right off the gate, I mean, do you like that you're splitting up your non-conference with 2 conference games? I know that it kind of has to because you have 20 conference games, but just your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the most important thing is in college basketball, it doesn't matter if it's the WAC or the SEC. The hardest thing to do is schedule. It's the hardest thing to do, and like you said earlier, for us to get these Power Fives coming into the WAC now is huge. But the hardest thing is scheduling. So I think the conference did a wonderful job setting up this conference challenge. I totally agree with it. It's 2 games every year that we don't have to worry about scheduling, and you get a home game and you get an away game. So by the conference doing that, setting this challenge up, well, they had to make some changes because of the calendar. I don't mind it because I like I like the 2 games that you don't have to worry about finding on your own. It's already set up, and for us to make a little sacrifice and play before Christmas, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think, it's a dynamic, like you said. Scheduling seems to be the biggest challenge for staffs after, I mean, obviously after putting the roster together. You also, as part of that Wax the USA challenge, you get Sam Houston. You're at Sam Houston on December 30th. Will you guys even go home between that Saturday and Thursday since you play at SFA like 5 days later?
Well, we're not in school, so we might just have to stay at the old Fredonia a few extra days down there at SFA.
Nice.
But we're definitely flying that trip. So, I mean, I know it's in Texas, but we're going to fly that SFA trip and then on from there. So we'll probably come home and then. But I do like the Fredonia. I'm giving them a little plug down there in Nacogdoches.
100%. I stayed there last year when I went down for a couple ball games, and 100%. I will say this, and I don't know how it was anybody else's room. I'm not sure about the whole no door on the shower thing, though. So I pointed that out to people in Nacogdoches, like that was kind of strange. So I'm not going to lie about that, but everybody has their preference. So, Lane, I want to ask you. Go ahead.
I would say, did you get to watch a movie outside by the pool?
No, they didn't have it because I think it was in January, so
Too cold.
A little too cold by Texas standards. Let's put it that way, by Texas standards. So it was perfect weather for me, but I mean, I'm from Utah, so we get it. I want to ask you, who do you think is going to be one of those players on your roster that has maybe an increased role or has to step up to maybe fill those shoes that Janae Williams left, that Casey Kyle left? Is there somebody that kind of sticks out to you that either you're expecting to or that you're already seeing them do that?
Well, I think Mel Kalahi, she started for us last year. She averaged 9 points a game, shot 38% from the 3. I think she's a senior. I think she's one of the best shooters in the league already, but I think she's going to have just a tremendous year and really maybe double her production. I think she's got a chance to be an all-conference player. But we're faster. We've got. Do you remember the Holloman kid that played for UTRGV last year? We got his sister. That's a freshman for us, and she's good enough to play. And then also Giselle Johnson from San Antonio. So we're going to look a little bit different just because we're more athletic at the guard position. And so as smart as Janae was, she never turned it over. Great team player. We're more athletic with this group. And I think it's going to help us in the long run.
I like it. And, 2 years ago, the WAC tournament, you guys surprise people and you shoot the lights out. And like you said, being a little bit more athletic, being a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but where you're able to play different styles with your size, with your athleticism this year, I think is going to be fun to watch. I think you're excited for it too, right?
I lost you again. I'm sorry, Kyle.
My internet connection is bad, people. If you're listening to this, my internet connection might be bad. But anyways, Lane, I was saying, 2 years ago in Las Vegas, you shoot the lights out, surprise people, get, into a couple rounds. Last year, kind of a little bit slower, but this year you have the ability to play different styles on different nights where you can go big and you can play quick and athletic. You have you got to love that as a head coach, that you have that ability to mix and match, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think our first year, the WAC was a lot different when I was here, or my first year, and we played in the championship game, lost to New Mexico State. That was probably our most athletic team. And then the following year, we had a decent run, but then COVID hit. And, I tell you what, for 2 years, when you can't recruit, and we're so far down here in the valley, that if you can't get them on campus, you got no shot. Once you get them on campus, we don't lose them. And so I think the last 2 years, with the 10 players we got that we recruited last year that are back, and then the 6 new solid players that we have now, I think you're going to see UTRGV really turn the corner in this conference. And I think we've got, like you said, we've got speed, we got size, and we got depth. And one thing I've learned in the 5 years I've been here, and certainly the last couple, is you win with veteran players, you win with experienced players, and you win with size and athleticism. And you look at Southern Utah last year; they've had kids that have been together for 4 and 5 years, and that's why they won the conference. SFA the year before, veteran team. Cal Baptist before that, they had kids that redshirted during their transition, and here they are, 5th and 6th year seniors, just running the table on everybody. I believe they had the nation's longest winning streak that year.
Yeah.
And it's all about experience. And the league is a unique league because of the travel, the different regions. You might play in you might be in 3 different time zones in a weekend. So it's a unique league, and I think you got to have that experience. And you always have to have the talent, but you got to have that experience. And I really feel like we're at the point where UTRGV is going to be a really good women's basketball team, and I think we're going to be a challenge every night.
One last question here before I let you go. Since I ask every other coach it, I didn't have to ask Sharika Wright because we asked her what her favorite cake was since we got her on her birthday. So your go-to snack, whether when you're on the road or maybe you're going home from practice, if you have to stop, what's your go-to snack?
Well, if I'm eating healthy, my go-to snack is a muscle milk. But if I'm not eating healthy, then I got to have my Reese's peanut butter cups. And yes, I eat all 4 of them.
I love it. Oh, the Reese's peanut butter cups. That is awesome. Yep. That is awesome. And it's, you know what? It comes in an orange package, so it fits the UTRGV
That's right.
mantra. So you got to stick with it. I love it. Lane Lord, I appreciate the time. As always, I mean, we're getting October here. We are, I think I counted right, 40 days.
41 days.
Off. Geez, man, it's coming quick. And I know we have media days in a couple weeks. So we'll be talking to you then, but appreciate the time as always.
I appreciate you and everything you do for the WAC. You make it fun and interesting for everybody. And we'll see you on the road, and I'll buy you a dinner. How about that?
Sounds good, Lane. Sounds good. Everybody, right. Enjoy your WAC Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow us on Twitter at WAC Hoops Digest and Facebook under WAC Hoops Digest for all your WAC Hoops news and information.